Vishvam Darpana Drishyamanam Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannātmani māyā bahiribhūtai yatha nidraya Yassākṣāt kurute prabodha samaye Svātmanamevādvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bījasyāntarivaṅkuro jagadidam Prāṅ nirvikalpam punaha Māyā kalpita deshakala kalana Vaichitra chitri kritam Māyā viva vijrumbhayatyapi maha yogi vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashiva Samarambham Śaṅkara-bhāṣya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Bhadram Karane Vishnuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Mahakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaihi Stuštuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastarksho Harishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Avidya Bhashyakara says Advaita Bhavaha Prayojanam Dvaita Prapanchasya Avidya Kritatvat Vidyaya Tad Upashamaha Syat Iti Brahma Vidya Prakashanaya Asyaha Arambaha Kriyate. So Advaita Bhavaha, understanding oneself as the self of everything. And if one understands that while one is in the form of everything, one appears in the form of everything, then there is really not a second thing to count. Dvaitam means counting. Count. 1, 2, 3. This is Dvaitam. So, and one who counts, so means what you count, each one has a equal reality. And one who counts also equally real. What you count is equally real among them. Reality is there among them. As well as one who counts is equally real also. So there is a subject-object setup. This is all Dvaitam. So when you understand, once you understand you are in the form of everything, basically, well, definitely there is nothing else. There is no really second thing to count. That's called Advaita Bhava. That's called a vision of a non-duality. And so that is the prayojanam. Prayojanam of what? Prakrana Chatushtayam. This fourfold prakranas and Shastra, the Upanishad. That together has that prayojanam. Not only this, even Brahma Sutra, etc. also has the same purpose. Prayojanam means purpose. What is the purpose of this prakrana? What is the purpose of the Vedanta Shastra? Is this Advaita Bhava. So, here you, by studying the Shastra, you don't get anything. But because of that, you were thinking that Dvaitam is a reality. That reality, there is a reality in Dvaitam, duality, that much it goes away. That's it. The experience of duality will continue. So Dvaita Pratiti is not an issue. Dvaita Vastutvam is an issue. Reality of the Dvaitam is an issue, not the experiencing. That's how Shastra also accepts. He is going to quote Yatra Dvaitam iva bhavati. There is as though duality. Means duality is accepted. But as though. It's as though means what? Don't take it real. That's it. You will experience Dvaitam. Subject-object setup you will experience. It is Ishvara alone. But that counting, etc., well, we will stop it due to the vision you have of yourself. Anyway, so this Bhranta Jnanam, so this is all Bhrant, that everything is, I am a different, everything is different, etc. Well, that resolves. And how this, what is the cause of the Dvaitam? Dvaitam is caused by Ahankara. What is Ahankara? Ahankara does not mean I am different, you are different. Ahankara means I and mine is Ahankara. Why? In that there is a Dvaitam. There, yeah. Once you say I, and then you say something is mine, automatically Dvaitam. My child, my car. If it is Advaitam means what? I am the car. I am the child. We feel Dvaitam means I, you. No. I and mine. That's it. When you count something else and then says, well, that belongs to me. I'm connected to that, whatever. There is another thing already. So, Ahankara, which is the cause of the Dvaitam, that Ahankara is defined as I and mine. But that I means Swamiji self. No, sir. When you say something is mine, definitely that I is different. When you say my child, definitely your understanding about yourself is not Brahman. Yeah, definitely not. It's Ahankara only. Once you say this body, etc., I will be discussing about this Ahankara also. So when you say body, etc., once you place the I sense in the body, then there is something other than you, well, but to which you will connect as mine. That's Dvaitam. So there's a duality. Anyway, so and that Dvaitam, etc., because of that, well, there are all issues. So, and so once we don't understand this, well, this particular thing, if we don't understand it, till then this Dvaita Bhava will not go away. What is this Ahankara, etc., we should understand properly. And what is, when I say I and mine, what is that I? What is your understanding about that I? Well, if you cannot appreciate properly, well, this Dvaita Bhava will not go away, will not go. You will not have the knowledge of identity between you and what you can consider as a mind. That's how even in the Christians they say, love thy neighbor as thyself. Well, you love your neighbor as you love yourself. But that there will not be so much harmony, because you understand your neighbor as a neighbor first. Then only you say you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So definitely you know that the neighbor is a neighbor and you are you. That much understanding is there. So that Dvaitam is there, and therefore that love is a conditional love. There is no real love behind that. So the real love comes when you understand that totally that you are the self, which is the self of everything, and therefore you love yourself means you love everything, because everything is just a manifestation or appearance of the self. That's a different understanding, in which that love is has a vision of a non-duality of oneself. And therefore, anyway, that is how even anywhere the love between the brothers and these and all has all this conditional. It has a bearing on in a certain social recognition. It may have a bearing in a certain economic advantages, etc. Once it goes away, like a family, which is where the brothers, they are married and the children and all they stay together. itself gets a certain social recognition. We also talk in this society, especially in India. Here I am not aware of, may not be here, but in India, when you find some family like this, where everyone treats others as just oneself, suppose, then it's entirely different thing. But even though, there is a love between the brothers and brothers' wives, etc., all this has a certain bearing on social recognition, or doing some business. They are doing some business, which is a small business, and so one needs the help of the other, etc. In that case, once it goes, the social recognition suppose goes away, or you don't need any benefit economically, etc., then they get separated, etc. also. So this is not, because you understand your brother as your brother. You don't understand brother as oneself. That's an entirely different vision. So even though there is a harmony and love and etc., all that, but still, that Dvaita Bhava is always there. So what is the moolam of this Dvaitam is this. So Dvaitam means subject, object, Swamiji. I, you, that is Dvaitam. No, sir. I and mine is Dvaitam. That's it. And so, and the mind means I'm connected, related. When this will not be there? Two things, please remember this. When there is really no second thing, then there is Advaitam. Or else, there is a second thing, but that is non-separate from me. Then also you have Advaitam. So when there is really not a second thing at all, in that case, you have a Advaita Bhava. Like, suppose I am the only child of my father. In that case, as a son, I am Advaitam. Naturally, because there is no other child, no kid to my parents other than me. So, there is nothing, there is no second thing. Please understand. And therefore, you say, I am basically only one without the second. That's a different Advaita Bhava. Or else, there is another person, but really, you're not separate from you. You may have a brother, and you don't see any separation between you and your brother. You see a separation between you and your uncle, let us say. In that case, you say, there is a Dvaita Bhava. Please understand, all conflicts which are born of Dvaitam is because of that. So, between your brother and your uncle, at one place you don't see any separation from yourself. Like your brother, you say, I don't see him separate from me. This is Advaita Bhava. There is another one, but you don't see separation. Whereas, suppose your uncle is there, I fight to my uncle because I don't have a same bhava like I have a bhava for my brother. Then definitely you will have a fight. So that is entirely a different thing. So basically this Yoga Darshanam, that's what my point is. And Bauddha Darshanam also, definitely they have this Advaita Bhava. They also have. This Bauddhas, it is going to come very well on a very, very large scale. They also say that, they also have Advaita Bhava, in as much as, one person says, like Buddhas say, you must be knowing this, Buddhas do not accept the real creation, objective creation. They say this is nothing but just a consciousness, a flicker of a consciousness. And there is a continuity of this flicker of consciousness. Every moment a new consciousness arises and resolves. Another moment, another consciousness arises, resolves, and it arises constantly like that. So you feel a continuation of consciousness. So basically, this is what the reality is. There is no really, a object outside. And then, how do you gain nirvāṇa moksha? Once this flicker of consciousness, which is continuously going on, when it subsides due to knowledge, then one gains definite, but it resolves completely. It extinguishes nirvāṇa. So this flickers of consciousness which is continuously going on, when it extinguishes completely, they give an example of a lamp also. A lamp which has a flame, every moment a new flame arises actually. But since it is arising continuously, you feel a continuation of a flame. But actually, really speaking, at every moment a new flame arises. It is true. And well, that goes on. That's the samsara. But the moment, well, that oil, etc. is not there, and now that flame is extinguished. That they call it as a nirvāṇa. So means turns to shunyam. So that is how, well, there will not be anything. So basically this pratyaya santati, they call. Pratyaya means this flicker of consciousness. Santati, continuation. That subsides. So every moment a new consciousness arises, and in one way it is true, only they have misplaced. Every moment a new thought arises along with an object, naturally, which has object. A pot thought, then a clip thought, then a book thought. Well, and once it arises, it will have a consciousness also, chidabhasa. So every thought is every cognition. So this is all Dvaitam. Naturally, pot cognition is different from book cognition. Book cognition is different from some other cognition. So all Dvaitam. And when it all subsides, well, due to knowledge, whatever knowledge they call, then well, there will not be any dvitiyata, there will not be a duality. That's a nirvāṇa. It's totally subside, extinguishes. Shunyam, one reaches shunyam. That's how this is there the Advaita. Well, in which they say regard, I mean like this, because so there is no object outside other than this cognition, or other than this flicker of consciousness. So therefore there is Advaita. Could you follow? There is no really an object outside. What is there is just a flicker of consciousness, and that subsides. That's Advaita. This is Buddha. We can call this Buddhas as a abhava advaiti. Abhava, there is no object outside. Abhava advaiti. Well, so and the yogis, they are called bhava advaitis. Why? Because yoga is based on the philosophy of a Sāṅkhya. Yogas, people do not have their own philosophy. It's actually a philosophy of a Sāṅkhya only has been heard. Yoga is basically practicing to assimilate this philosophy. What is the philosophy? In which, very simple, that there is a creation outside, which is created by prakṛti. So there is a bhava. There is something there in a creation, completely different from Buddhas. They say there is a creation. And well, what happens is, so prakṛti, well, definitely, and a whole creation, this Dvaitam, etc. It is there. Then how will you reach Advaitam? Well, because I am a puruṣa who is asaṅga, who is not connected to prakṛti. I have to break that saṅga, basically, from the prakṛti. So I'm experiencing samsara because of my identification with the prakṛti. They say that. And therefore, I have to understand myself, a asaṅga puruṣa. How will you understand? Well, you do this, you follow this asaṅga-yoga, reach to nirvikalpaka samadhi, in which, well, drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam, drashta will understand that I am asaṅga, I am totally unconnected to this prakṛti, and entire prakṛti resolves into this samadhi, etc., including various thoughts, chittavritti nirodha. They resolve. What is left behind is me alone, which is totally unconnected to this prakṛti. Prakṛti is resolved, I am there, and therefore this is also Advaitam. So yogis and Buddhas, they also have Advaitam like this. One has a abhava Advaitam. There is nothing else. What appears as Advaitam, etc., is all this flickers of consciousness. And when that subsides, then one reaches to nirvāṇa, shunyam, etc., like that of a lamp, etc. So they have a Advaitam, and these yogis also have this Advaitam. They say there is a creation outside, which is created by prakṛti, but puruṣa has no role to play. I am basically asaṅga. I am unconnected, unrelated to prakṛti, that I have to understand. Basically, right now I have identified with the prakṛti, and that's how I am experiencing samsara. In asaṅga-yoga, etc., reaching up to the nirvikalpaka state, I will understand myself as now unconnected, unrelated puruṣa, and which has no connection to prakṛti. And therefore, all prakṛti I have resolved in samadhi, etc. Nirvikalpa. All the vikalpas have gone. Dvaitam has gone. So definitely they also say like this. What Vedanti says, no. Vedanti says we are what? Purna Advaiti. We are not Abhava Advaitin. We are not Bhava Advaitin. We are Purna Advaitin. What is Purna Advaitin? We say, it's not that the objects are not there outside. It's not that I am unconnected to the objects. Really objects are there and I am unconnected. Right? Because yoga is based on a philosophy of Sāṅkhya. In Sāṅkhya it is understood that this the puruṣa and prakṛti are of equal order of reality, and I have identified with the prakṛti, etc. So, we are saying that, there is an objective creation. And that objective creation basically, it's not that I have to really, and it has an equal order of reality, and I have to understand myself as asaṅga, etc. I have to break that identification. I have not to do this. Then what? I alone is in the form of the entire creation. Therefore, there is nothing other than me in the creation. Starting from space, everything is just a manifestation of a consciousness, which is I. And therefore, basically, like those ornaments, etc., which are made up of gold, they are non-separate from the gold, and therefore they are all manifestation of one gold. Varieties of names and forms are there. Even though they appear, they have various forms, various names, various purposes, yet it is just one gold. And the same way, that is Advaitam, Purna Advaitam, that is what we say. So everything is just non-separate from the I, the consciousness. Or everything is a manifestation of the same I, appearance rather than. Manifestation also means there is really something is there which is I undergone a transformation and manifest into this form. No, I just appears due to Maya, etc. So I am a Satchidananda. In a form of a creation also I am Satchidananda. Before creation also I was a Satchidananda, and whole thing resolved into me is a Satchidananda, like those ornaments before creation, gold. While they are there, then they are sustained by that same gold and they resolve into gold. Same way. Therefore, Bhashyakara has written somewhere, Bhava Vrittya hi Bhavatvam, Shunya Vrittya hi Shunyata, Purna Vrittya hi Purnatvam, Tasmat Purnatvam Abhyaset. Shunya means Abhava. There is nothing. There is no real creation outside. There is no objective creation. So, Bhava Vrittya hi Bhavatvam, Shunya Vrittya hi Shunyata. He is addressing, these Buddhas. Bhava Vrittya hi Bhavatvam. There is objective creation, but I am unconnected. I have to really disidentify myself with this real creation, etc. in a samadhi, etc. Bhava Vrittya Bhavatvam. We are not talking about the non-duality like this yogis say. Purna Vrittya hi Purnatvam. I alone appear in the form of everything. I am the whole. There is nothing which divides me. All the forms are just superimposed upon me due to Maya. I am whole, and non-dual whole. So Purna Vrittya hi Purnata. Tasmat Purnatvam Abhyaset. So our Advaita is a Purna Advaitam, not Bhava Advaitam, not Abhava Advaitam, no. Anyway, So what is the cause of Dvaitam is this Ahankara, I and mine, etc. And how Ahankara arises? Dvaitam arises due to Ahankara. Ahankara arises due to what? Well, there is a cause for Ahankara. What is the cause? That really speaking, I don't know that I am that whole. And and what is there is just this mithya limited things, names and forms. So I don't know I am a whole, and I place the I sense in those mithya limited things, names and forms. And then that is the cause of a Ahankara. So this is the difference between Aham and Ahankara is this. Aham is Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, and Ahankara is nothing but just I thought. So Aham is placed in a certain, any limited adjunct, any upadhi which is limited, any name and form. Aham, basically is Brahman, but not appreciating that when you place it in a certain upadhi. Aham, you place it in a certain upadhi, definitely what happens is a Ahankara. That's how Kara. Kara means karoti iti karaha. So a upadhi is there in which I place a I sense. I do I sense, karoti. I do I sense. I place I sense. I say some limited entity as myself. That's Ahankara. Aham karoti iti Ahankara. And that is actually mithya. It has no independent existence. I am whole means what? There is nothing other than me. And therefore all these names and forms, all the duality in fact, that let's keep duality right now away. So I place all these names and forms like here body, causal body, subtle body, gross body. I place the I sense in them, which is limited. So that is called Ahankara. Basically, I am basically Brahman, and that I sense in Brahman has not to be kept. It is already in. It is there along with the Brahman, and that's how when you don't do anything, like in a deep sleep state, etc., automatically, your I sense, not I sense, but your I really is in that Brahman alone, in a deep sleep state. And that's how you say also, because how can you say, Swamiji, but it is not placed in any limited entity? Because you don't feel limitations. Therefore, definitely you have not placed I sense in any limited thing in a deep sleep state. Your experience is very much there. That you have an experience of a wholeness there, etc. And the other aham, during waking state, definitely you always feel that you are limited. Therefore, definitely you have placed the I sense or some limited thing, some upadhi, is you are calling it as a I, like body, etc. And therefore you feel all limitations. The time-wise limitation which you feel at the waking state, place-wise limitation you feel. So you feel you are located in some place right now, right? You automatically have that I am right now in a ashram, or I am right now in my room, in a particular chair, etc. That awareness is there. Therefore, what is limited in place, you have put the I sense there, and therefore, and then you suffer that limitation of a place, limitation of a time, and limitation of certain attributes also which belong to that upadhi, name, form, etc. You feel it's your limitation. That's how you feel samsara. So when Ahankara is there, definitely Dvaitam will be there, and one feels all, person undergoes suffering also. So basically, one aham which you experience in a deep sleep state has no limitation. You don't have any limitation centered on I. You don't feel you are limited in a body, you are limited in a place. That sense has gone in a deep sleep state. So in a waking state, definitely you have a abhimana, identification with this body, etc. And therefore, Ahankara arises like that. And once you place I sense in this, you place my sense in something which is connected to you. You connect with something else. you place a my sense, and definitely the very Mine-ness shows a relationship. And relationship shows, well, dvinishta sambandha, well, there are at least two things, you and yours. It may be you and your car, you may be you and your child, or it may be you and your something else. So definitely there is a Dvaitam. So Dvaitam arises due to Ahankara. Ahankara arises not appreciating your real nature, that you are whole, and place that I sense. Particularly, you have to place it, Kara. Kara means Karoti. You have to place that I sense in a deep sleep, in a body, etc. That's Ahankara. And so this is how it is to be understood. And Ahankara can be of any type. People had a Ahankara, the I sense, in a country. In 1946, well, I'm talking about India, which was a subcontinent once upon a time. In 1946, well, their I sense was up to, as identified in a country. Even though it was a bigger country, but you have identified with it. So you at that time also you were saying, I am an Indian. So definitely in India, the country, with a certain area, etc., you have identified. That's how in those days they were. One person met me in India. He was saying, well, Swamiji, in those days, we used to say we have to protect our country. We have to protect ourselves. Yeah, very beautifully. We have to protect ourselves from Iran and Afghanistan and all. Well, because our boundaries were up to that. So we have to protect ourselves from the borders of this Afghanistan, Iran, etc. Means what? That Ahankara was definitely means you have placed the I sense in a country, that subcontinent, India, with a certain area. Well, and just after 1 year of that, in 1947, now they say we have to protect ourselves from the border of Rajasthan and this and that, etc. So you understand, we feel Ahankara means just placing I sense here. No, when you say I'm Indian, definitely your I sense has gone more than this body also. Of course, you are born as an Indian, and therefore you say I'm Indian. That's true, but it goes up to that. So that is how the cause of Ahankara is placing the I sense, where it's that I sense which is placed is due to Bhranti Jnanam. You are basically everything. You are whole, not everything. Everything is in you. Matsthani sarva bhutani, nachamasthani bhutani, etc. Basically, you are whole. There are no parts. Parts cannot make whole, etc. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. But so this is how, due to upadhi only, you feel a sense of limitation, etc. And then naturally, once you say I am a limited being, etc., then definitely there are things which are other than you, which you have excluded from the I, and there will be a duality. And this is how, so what is the cause of the Ahankara ultimately? Avidya, right? Not appreciating what I am and placing I sense in something which is non-separate from I, you can say, body, etc., placing I sense in that, which is limited, of course. So, and so holding on to this parichinna bhava, etc., and which is called avidya. So that's how I say ahameva parabrahma iti asya arthasya aprabuddhata avidya iti vayam brumaha iha nasti sadatmani. So avidya is not something, a ignorance pertaining which is there as a state of the mind, etc. We are talking about the entire creation, the duality, etc., the prapancha, or the cause of that, etc. And therefore, this avidya is a very technical word. Or ajnanam also, you say it's a technical word, and that is nothing but this placing the I sense, not knowing oneself as the whole, and placing the I sense in something which is mithya and which is limited, any name form. That is, here it is body. So ahameva parabrahma, I am parabrahma iti asya arthasya aprabuddhata. Well, this is this I do not know. That's called Avidya iti vayam brumaha. That's called Avidya, which is not there sadatmani, which is because mithya. Really speaking, it is mithya. That's what I was talking. What is the reality of Maya? Is it identical to Brahman, or it is separate from Brahman? You cannot say identical to Brahman, because Brahman is consciousness. If you say Maya is identical to Brahman, then Maya also should be called consciousness. We never say Maya is consciousness, right? So basically, you sometimes, and if it is identical, then the word Maya and Brahman are synonyms. If it is synonyms, then instead of Maya, why don't you use Brahman? And instead of the word Brahman, why don't you use the word Maya? No. So if it is not identical, then it must be separate from Brahman. No, that is also not there, etc., etc. And there will be Dvaitam. Then we should withdraw the word Brahman, because Brahman is whole, Advitiyam. There is nothing other than Brahman. Therefore, Maya, which is separate, cannot be there. Therefore, Maya is not separate from that. Maya is not identical to that. This is how it is. So anyway, that part is left in a satsang, which I have to pick up in December. So Avidya, we have to understand very clearly. This is what Avidya or Maya, etc. is. And once that Dvaitam comes, so cause of Ahankara, I told you, Avidya, not understanding oneself as a whole and placing essence, etc. in something else. So Avidya gives rise to Ahankara. Ahankara gives rise to Dvaitam. And once Dvaitam comes, means Dvaitam as a reality, then definitely you will superimpose upon oneself as a sukhi, dukhi, etc. Because then definitely you will superimpose on certain things some positive, and certain things, on certain things you will superimpose something negative. That's called shobhanadhyasa, ashobhanadhyasa. So certain things, why do you look as a positive? Now Dvaitam means definitely the things are there outside, right, other than yourself. On those things you will superimpose something positive called shobhanadhyasa. And that adhyasa is superimposition of seeing something as a source of joy, etc., peace, security, etc. That's called shobhanadhyasa. On certain other objects, you superimpose a source of unhappiness, etc., right? That source of pain, source of suffering, etc. So that is a negative. That's called ashobhanadhyasa. But Swamiji, why everyone, certain things I look upon as favorable, certain things unfavorable, whereas my friend looks upon those things which I consider favorable, he considers unfavorable, etc. Why? So Shobhana Adhyasa is based on something else? That is based on samskara, one's own impressions. I am going to the cause. So basically, it depends upon my own impression about the objects. Those impressions are born of what? Born of my experiences of those objects. And that's how it goes on. And those experiences in which life? Anadi. So in several janmas, I have experienced several objects. Those objects definitely have created an impression in me in terms of we call samskaras. And according to those samskaras, I definitely judge the objects which are naturally different from me because of my notion about the duality. I will look upon some objects as a source of a joy, etc., source of suffering, etc. It is all based on my samskaras. So it is purely adhyasa. Because the object which I look upon as a source of joy, the other looks upon it as a source of pain. And it is very simple to understand nowadays, where the divorce is so much. When in a divorce, when the one person is there are two people, let's say, and one wants to get rid of the other person, and there is another person waiting there for this divorce. So he wants to marry to this person, some woman or whatever, or woman to her man, whatever. So basically, same person is looked upon as a source of joy by one, the same person is looked upon as a source of pain by other. That's how he wants to divorce. So this is what purely adhyasa. It is adhyasa. And that adhyasa is due to one's own samskaras. Samskaras are due to anubhavajanya samskara. That samskaras are due to my own experiences. When I relate to the world, I had experiences. From those experiences, well, definitely samskaras are born. And that leads to superimposition. That leads to ultimately sukham dukkham for oneself. So this is how it is. So Avidya to Ahankara, Ahankara to Dvaita Bhava, from Dvaita Bhava, well, definitely you will have a rāga-dveṣa, etc. And then rāga-dveṣas, well, due to that, I mean, in form of a samskaras, and due to that value, there is a superimposition, shobhana dhyasa. And then when you come in contact with some object which is a source of suffering, as per your definition, you will feel dukkham. And shobhana dhyasa you do, and you come in contact with, you feel sukham, etc. So that's how one becomes sukhi, dukhi, etc. So that is called samsara. Frankly speaking, what is the ladder for the sukham? Vedanta talks about it, and that is quite distinct. The way we define Avidya, we also define what is sukham. What is sukham? Well, sarvam svavasham sukham, sarvam paravasham dukkham. Sarvam svavasham sukham, sarvam paravasham. Paravasham means dependency, helplessness. Where there is a dependency, helplessness, there is a dukkha. Where there is a independence, there is no dependency, no helplessness, no sense of helplessness. Well, more freedom, more joy. More independence, more joy. So this is what Vedantas define. Because of the adhyasa, you feel those objects, positive adhyasa, shobhan adhyasa, we feel those are the objects which give me sukham, etc. Well, if you little look into this, I'm going to talk to you about from a different standpoint. So, the way we have discussed, several ways we have discussed is the experience of happiness and how it arises now, but this is a little different way I'm talking today. So, if you look at it with a little subtle vision, then you find that the objects which you consider as the objects of happiness, well, then they are, means you, definitely you feel more independence. You don't have a sense of helplessness, etc. Well, but that is not true. The objects which are giving you happiness, independence, freedom, those objects are making you dependent upon them, making you helpless, etc. And so in the people who are living in Delhi, etc., and and especially in summer, where there is a lot of heat, and you feel as if your body is burning. And definitely, and then what can you do in this? You cannot do anything. Because you have when you feel such kind of a thing, that your body is burning, you feel helpless. And then what will you do? Well, you go in a air-conditioned room. And once you go there, you feel relaxed naturally. You feel joy, because you have come out of this sense of helplessness, dependency, etc. By which I was dependent on the heat, which was creating a unhappiness in me. Anyway, so this is what the principle of the science and technology. You have a certain helplessness pertaining to certain objects in the world. Science and technology says that we are providing you new objects. Please understand this. We are providing you new objects which will make you free from such dependency, such helplessness. That is their philosophy. Their aim of science and technology also is to make you independent, free. But they don't have any other thing. They say external situations only makes you unhappy. By creating helplessness, dependency, we will modify that situation. Then we'll create another type of an external situation, objects, which will make you independent. That's their philosophy. Science and technology. And and on other side, our yoga and other things, even our certain our religious disciplines also, while they say no, external situations cannot be changed. Well, you should not, because even if you change external situation, well, you will be dependent on a new situation. You were dependent, helpless on a one situation. They change that external situation, but again you remain dependent on that situation in right. So in a process of making you happy, independent, freedom, making you free, well, they keep you ultimately dependent. Therefore, well, there is another thing. Like our yoga or our religious disciplines, certain disciplines, including even meditations and all. Well, and certain penance, etc. Well, they say no. You should have a certain strength. Why do you feel helpless? Because you don't have enough strength. So you have to make yourself full equipped so that external situations will not create such helplessness in you. And therefore, the religious disciplines, religious life, and even a certain yoga, etc. also, they try to change the internal situation so that you will be more strong internally to face the external situation and not become dependent or helpless. That is their criteria. And they also ultimately make you dependent. I will explain you that. Let us understand this example. I will give you a general example which is the experience of everyone. Like you are going to some place. Let's say you are going to a Hawaii. Let us think that way. Or Bahamas. And for 10 days. Why are you going? You want to be happy. Right? You are going there. And you carry so much of luggage. As if you are not going to get the laundry there. You don't get laundry. You feel that. So you carry so much luggage so that you remain independent. You have not to depend on the laundry whether it is available there or not. So in order to remain independent, you carry so much luggage. Okay? And the fact that you reach to airport and the way you have to put all this luggage and everything for weighing, etc., because the airline people will not allow you like that. So there itself you feel, why did I bring so much of luggage? The luggage you brought for ultimately means a lot of clothes and other things you brought for what? For independence. I have not to, for 10 days I should have all the clothes. Well, I don't want to wear this, etc. Laundry may not be there, this, that. So I want to remain independent. So for that purpose, you have all this. But the same luggage, now to handle that luggage, you feel dependency. So basically, this is the situation so far as external things are concerned. Anyway, what I am saying is, even though science and technology, etc., all inventions and all the external comforts which is basically a benefit of this technology, and technology has a basis in science, definitely. All these also, they have a very genuine desire to make you independent. But they don't know that to really making the person independent, you are also making them dependent. There are several causes which they themselves do not know. Well, and those causes definitely arise and make you dependent while experiencing this independence. So this is one thing. And how about Swamiji, this religious life and yoga, etc.? There also you said, to equip yourself in such a way so that external situations will not influence you and will not create this dependency, helplessness in you, etc., and make you happy. Well, those, in the process of making you more equipped, more powerful, etc., what happens is, your endurance to external situation goes away. Like I tell you, suppose you are doing a yoga and you like this samadhi. Definitely, it's an experience which is within, naturally. and you are doing it. Naturally, you require a certain quiet atmosphere, right? You require a quiet atmosphere, a place, etc., and where all this disturbance, external disturbance is not there. When it is there, you cannot do. You cannot meditate. You cannot focus. So you definitely choose an external situation where you can even practice this thing. And now you are practicing, you are definitely gaining inner strength, joy. You feel that you are now you have not to depend on an external situation for joy, etc. Well, I have brought some change within me, which is giving me joy, giving me independence. Well, that's true, but you have not understood that you are now habituated to that. And therefore, the moment you come out of the meditation, etc., and you go out in a mall or anywhere else, you feel it is too much of noise now. So basically, this is the situation. So you are trying to bring internal situation. That's how Puranas discuss. Purana says, where all these ascetics, all these people who are doing a lot of penance, they basically are angry people. So because they become so sensitive to the external situation that they cannot handle. So, I mean, either you bring a external change. This is all Vedanta I am talking. Vedanta, the jignasa for which arises to know oneself, keeping aside whatever is there externally or within, that is where one has to focus. That's what I am talking to you. So either way, either you change an external situation, make it more comfortable to enjoy independence, freedom from helplessness, etc., while they make you more dependent on various causes which even they themselves do not know. So then they again modify, This is how the science and technology is progressing. So no change in external situation will ultimately bring this solution. No, change in an internal situation will ultimately will help, where you definitely become more and more dependent on internal situation. Also, to create a certain ideal situation by which you become more independent, which will not be affected by external situation. No, such people become more, in fact, very, very irritating people. The people who are meditating a lot and all, yogis, etc., they curse others and all, because they become very disturbed, very sensitive to the external situation. So that also cannot help. Then what? I will give you an example. Like you and me are there, who are really a seeker of this knowledge, etc. And we definitely, see that our body, etc., remain healthy, etc., and so that we can do the study, etc. That's fine. And we are able to maintain health, etc. And then there is another person who is a samsari, let us say, who has no interest on all this. Let's say some shopkeeper. And that shopkeeper has no interest in this. Shopkeeper gets headache and you get headache. Who can endure more? Please let me know. The shopkeeper will take the tablet and will go. He said, I have to go. I have to open the shop. I will have to bear this. And I have to do that. You will, if you get headache, because you are generally enjoying a health. So once you get headache, you will just take the tablet, close your eyes and sleep in the bed. You will not say, shopkeeper says, I cannot take a rest. I have to go. So my point is basically either changing situation internally, changing situation externally, really speaking, will not bring this independence, freedom from helplessness, etc. No. Vedanta says this, both the types of experiments, you yourself do, and you will find that, the sukham which you want, the freedom which you want, the independence which you want, that doesn't come by changing external situation or by changing internal situation. You will not become free from dependency, because ultimately your dependency for the sukham is on another thing. It may be external it may be internal. That is there. It is based on other thing, Dvaitam. So, then what should we do? Well, there is something else which is not internal, which is not external. Well, that's the only thing which you have not even looked into, and that is I. I is not internal. I is not external. I is I. Okay? I is not internal. Internal, what is internal, you know? Well, the mind and other things, well, it is all internal. I is I, basically. But Swamiji, you are also saying innermost Atma, Pratyagaatma you are saying. So innermost. That innermost is not in terms of some place, etc. Okay? Mind is Antakaran, there's an inner thing, inner instrument. I is, we call innermost, is not in terms of innermost, because I is something which objectifies everything, therefore we call innermost. What is objectified we consider as outer. And that I with the subject is basically is innermost. That way we say, not in terms of some place, etc. Whereas mind, etc. is definitely within the body. That's a different thing. So I is something where you have not paid any attention. So you have paid attention to the external situation, internal situation, but definitely you have not paid attention to that I, and well, understand that I as it is, without changing any internal situations in the mind, states in the mind, or changing external situation. Just know the I. Why? Knowing I will become independent, free. Yes, because I is free. Know that I, which is nothing but a free self. Knowing the free self, you will gain freedom. That freedom is absolute freedom because it is not dependent on anything other than I. When your dependency is not anyone else, anything else other than I, it is called independence. And therefore, definitely, that knowing the I as a free self, independent self, will give you independence, freedom, which is absolute, unconditional, which has no dependency on anything, no dependency on time, place, or any other objects, etc. Well, otherwise, changing anything, well, you will not have that thing. Further little bit is there, which I will tell you on Monday. That's how Bhashyakara's statement, Advaita Bhava Prayojanam, Dvaita Prapanchasya Vidya Krutatvat, etc., that also I will explain you on Monday. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.